A woman was frantically preparing Christmas dinner for all the guests that she had invited, family members, friends, some neighbors. And as she was helped in this task by her 8-year-old daughter, and the table was set, the meal was cooked, the people were seated, the food was served, everyone paused, waiting for the hostess to offer the prayer. The exhausted woman turned to her daughter and said, "Honey, would you please offer the prayer?" And the 8-year-old daughter said, well, what should I say? And the woman said, just say what you hear me say. So everyone bowed their heads and folded their hands, and the 8-year-old said, "Dear God, why did I invite all these people to dinner?" Do you ever say the wrong thing? I'm sure you do. And I know I certainly do, and more times than I'm willing to admit. Have you ever known somebody who always says the wrong thing? That was my friend Eddie back in seminary. He was a good-hearted guy, but kind of a goof. He had perpetual foot and mouth disease. He'd raise his hand in class, and we'd all duck and cover when the professor called on him. And he'd give one of his klutzy verbal grenades to the professor. Because of his extreme predilection to say the wrong thing, Eddie got chased out of several church internships while we were in seminary, a pattern that would continue after he graduated and was ordained and let loose in the church. It's not that he was a bad person, far from it. There was just some kind of faulty wiring in Eddie, some misconnection between mouth and brain where the lips moved long before the brain engaged. He ultimately left church ministry and became a clown. A better professional choice for him, to be honest. Eddie just always said the wrong thing. So, there we were on our fall retreat in the north woods of Wisconsin during seminary, and we were having this deeply spiritual, wonderful time when the northern lights came out. Aurora Borealis. Have you ever seen it? There were waves of green and yellow and blue rippling across the skies, beautiful, unearthly, haunting, even a bit frightening in its sky-wide scope and majesty. I've never seen them like that. I saw them that night in over 30 years. We gasped. We wept. We were thunderstruck with awe, our mouths agape and our tongues still in silent wonder. And then Eddie opened his mouth to speak. And this is what he said. "O star, the fairest one in sight, we grant your loftiness the right to some obscurity of cloud. It will not do to say of night, since dark is what brings out your light. Some mystery becomes the proud. But to be wholly taciturn in your reserve is not allowed. Say something to us we can learn by heart, and when alone repeat. Say something." And it says, "I burn." But say with what degree of heat. Talk Fahrenheit, talk centigrade. Use language we can comprehend. Tell us what elements you blend. It gives us strangely little aid, but does tell something in the end. And steadfast as Keats' eremite, not ever stooping from its sphere, it asks a little of us here. It asks of us a certain height. So when at times the mob is swayed to carry praise or blame too far, we may take something like a star to stay our minds on and be stayed. Eddie, who always said the wrong thing on this one night, didn't just not say the wrong thing, using the words of the poet Robert Frost that he had set to his own heart and memory. He said the perfect thing. I'll never forget that night, or the feeling I had in my chest after Eddie recited that beautiful poem. We preachers we're always searching for the right thing to say, particularly on this wonderful, magical night of Christmas Eve. We want to recapture the joy, the peace, the wonder, the ineffable sense of that Bethlehem night sky so long ago. We want to touch and bless and give ease and comfort so that we can all dwell in a kind of warm glow of God's loving, romantic presence. And Eddie makes me wonder if that might be the wrong thing that we preachers try to do. He makes me wonder if the wonder of this night, the star-blessed wonder of this night, doesn't just offer us blessings of comfort, but also asks of us a little something, a certain height, a lifted moral stature. He makes me wonder if we should walk away from this night, from the miracle of Christmas itself, and take something like a star from it, something that ennobles us, emboldens us, and makes us better and stronger people. Perhaps some of you made a point of being by your radios this morning at 9 o'clock a.m. for the live broadcast of the King's College Choir and their presentation of the service of lessons and carols. My favorite thing about this service is actually something you can't hear. It's something you can only see, and only then if you're sitting near the front of the church in King's College. It's the moment at the very beginning of the concert when the choir master points to one boy, indicating that he will be the one to sing the opening solo of Once in Royal David's City. Nevin Glenn, we hope, will sing it for us at the 9 o'clock service later tonight. Do you know that the boys in the King's College Choir don't know who is going to sing that solo until the moment that the choir master points at them? Each and every one of them has to be prepared to sing the solo just in case they're the one that's selected. And all the warning they get is, well, none. All the preparation they get is the space of one big breath. It's just point, breathe, and sing. Point, breathe, and sing. What about you? Are you ready? And now I'm not talking about singing a solo, I'm talking about life, about discipleship, and not about saying the right thing, but about doing the right thing, making the right decision, acting in the manner of Christ. For so often in life, those important moments happen all at once. An accident occurs, a comment is made, a drink or a joint is handed your way, a late-night phone call, a desperate moment in an argument with a loved one. It's just point, breathe, and sing. At least that's how it is so many times in our life. Are you ready? This night asks something of us. It asks us to take something like a star. It asks it of all of us, no matter who we are, how prepared or ill-prepared we may feel. Each one of us is just point, breathe, and sing. Out of the shadows and into the light, behind camouflage of bricks and debris, we found ourselves living in poverty. This poem was written by Brian D., a guest at the emergency shelter of the Fox Valley. He wrote it a couple of years ago. We found ourselves living in poverty. It's a place no one wants to be, so we swallow our pride, we throw up our hands to find a place that's safe and warm, so we ask with our lips and eyes for shelter, help, and more. We turned and looked at the road that brought us here. We have finally noticed the light of friendly smiles that inspire our dreams of talent, a place to aim both age and youth. We struggle through life's dark way, as we set and seek courageously some goal far distant from the scene from which we came. They open doors to new and brighter days for peaceful ways and everlasting happiness. Did you hear it in Brian Dee's poem? I bet there are plenty of times in his life when he said the wrong thing, but not now. Now he's noticing the light. He's seeing the star. He's lifting his hopes, his dreams, his life. He is taking something like a star. What about you? On this beautiful Christmas Eve, filled with wonder and hope, are you ready to lift your life? Become your better self? Make the right choices? Decide soon, because you know how it is. Point, breathe, and sing.